All right. Hey, YouTube. It is Ashley Keller Williams Real Estate in Everett here for the December market update in Everett. Man, I feel like when I don't think it could get any crazier, it gets crazier. Okay, the market just keeps on going, and I think you will be equally surprised by the numbers, by the data that I'm going to present. So let's just get right to the data. Here it comes. All right, so we're going to get into the data. So let's look at Everett, in the big picture. So this is all of the city of Everett. We're looking at November 2019 up against November 2020. And we can see that new listings are pretty much flat. This is really typical for the listings to be lower than normal. We've got holidays, we've got COVID. Looking at this, you can definitely feel this in the market, like the inventory is still low. Given the fact that people could get pretty good pricing on their homes, it's maybe a little bit surprising that it's low because there are a lot of people that just want to take advantage of opportunities. Pending sales are slightly increased, and I think that's just really carryover from last month. October was a pretty big month for an October, and that was largely due to the buying season kind of being shifted in part. And the other piece of that is that interest rates have just remained historically low. So, they're very, very low. Median sales price, this is like, maybe a big surprise to some people, has jumped from $390,000 to $465,000, which is a 19.2% increase in 1 year. And days on market is low. So, I think that days on market being low kind of goes hand in hand with that increased sales price. There's just a lot of competition, so homes are selling fast and they're selling for more than asking price. So, really? Look, I'm just going to go through it. Okay, so, everybody knows that everyone's working from home these days. We're going to be looking at November 2019 to November 2020, and this is in Historic North Everett. This is 802 98201. So we're looking here at new listings, and you can see there's a slight uptick. I don't think there's anything to write home about here. Slightly, 5 more houses on the market's not really going to do a whole lot for, the actual overall shortage that we have. We also have, less pending properties, and, that less pending properties in this area is probably really a result of what we saw last month. New listings were flat. We didn't have, more listings. So, I think seeing that is not really a surprise given what we had last month. Rolling into the sold properties, that also remained pretty flat. Homes for sale, right? This is kind of like, okay, what are we going to be looking at in the following month? Still pretty low. It's still, it's still hanging in with last year's number, though we have really high demand and super duper low interest rates. And that has really forced that days on market to be a bit lower, and that month supply is this is extremely low. This is like 2 weeks of supply. So boom, what is that a recipe for? It's a recipe for this, okay? What you're looking at here is the median sales price in homes, and you can see that in 2019, that price was $328,000. And this year we had a huge jump up to $422,800. So, basically $423,000. That's a 28.9% increase. And I wish I could say, hey, prices are going to go lower, but you know what? I don't think so. I think going into 2021, we're going to head right on past 450. And definitely, we're going to stay above 400,000. So, for those buyers out there that are kind of waiting for this market to soften up and for prices to come back down, I just don't see that happening soon. So you're just going to have to hang out there a little bit longer. Here is the median sales price, this is data from February of 2019 all the way to November 2020. So we've almost got 2 years of data here. And you can definitely see an upward trend on the median home sale price. I mean, we had a pretty big month in September. I believe we're at like around $470,000 for the median home sales price. We kind of dropped back a little bit in October. Not that surprising, we have that seasonal variation, but it kind of bounced back here in November. And as you see, I think this trend is going to continue, where I said we're going to just sort of hang out above 400,000. And, to give you some perspective, to get a 3-bed, 2-bath home up here in North Everett, which is like the most commonly requested type of home that I get from buyers, you're going to need to pay around that median sales price. It's around $423,000. And man, you're going to have to pay at least that, right? I looked at the range for this past month, and the numbers go as high as $575,000. And so, yeah, $575,000, 3-bed, 2-bath, most commonly requested home. A lot of new home buyers are coming into the market and they want to spend about $350,000. So the $350s for that 3-bed, 2-bath are pretty much out at this point. This is one of my favorite graphs because it really helps, buyers and maybe sellers to some extent understand what's going on with the market here. I mean, here's what you should expect when you go out and you're going to buy a home. You should expect to pay above asking, because here we are. Here's the data. On average, sellers received 2.9% above asking. This range, the range on that was 184% list price to asking, all the way down to 93.83%. And sure, yeah, it looks like you could maybe like on a handful of houses, 5 or 6 houses, get below asking price. But here's the deal. About 85% of those homes sold last month sold at asking or more. So going into the market, you should just expect to pay, around 3%. I mean, that's just the average number. And it could be much more than that. Like, it could be 13%, 14% above asking, depending on how that home was priced. As far as seasonality, I mean, we can see that, this 2020 has just been really crazy. I mean, the housing market has really held strong. Sellers have not only been getting above asking price because of the shortage of inventory, but also because of interest rates. And you can see here comparing November 2019, which was like just a tick above 100% of asking. You see that September, October, November, where we would have that historic low, we don't have it here. In November, we stayed, around 3% above asking. All right. So, man, were you just like impressed by those numbers? Are crazy. So look, again, I keep saying this, no crystal ball here, but gosh, Zillow just keeps getting more and more aggressive on their forecast. Now they're saying 9.4% increase in Everett in the next year. I was just listening to a talk from the CEO of Redfin. Man, Glenn Kelman, he says he thinks that this low interest rate environment is going to keep going. And man, look, sure, like a lot of things are happening with coronavirus, right? Like it sounds like we're going to have a vaccination. It sounds like the vaccine is going to be given to people and all that stuff. But, man, I think we're still going to be in masks for a while. It might be all of next year. And I think that this kind of continuing trend of working from home is going to carry out through, 2021. And, yeah, man, again, if you own a property right now and you're like, man, it's not big enough and we need to move into something bigger, like this is the time to lock in that interest rate, that interest rate that you're going to talk about for the rest of your life, and sell your house at a record price. Okay. Like record price, like these prices here in Everett, these are higher than they have ever been. Okay, so that concludes my market update. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again soon, YouTube.